Hi, welcome to Repeat Offenders. My name is Jens and it's the middle of July. The heat during the day is almost unbearable. The fish aren't feeding too well. Most fishermen stay at home, which is lucky for us because this time of the year is perfect for what we're going to do today. I'm going to put some markers out so we have a visual reference where to swim to. And then I'm going to use this and I'll go down there and put the rig down, really bury it, straighten it out and take the lead core, put that down, put some sand over it to make it look really, really neat. Put just a couple of baits next to this, the fish aren't really having it, there's no need for large amounts of bait. And I think we're going to catch some fish. All rods are fishing, and like you've just seen, what we do is basically we put the rod on the rest, open the clutch a little bit and just swim straight out there, holding the lead, holding the whole rig in our hands. Lead size really isn't that important because even at distance you get very, very good hold because you push it right into the bottom. Stuff like this is pretty good just because you can put it right in there. It goes into the mud or into the silt with ease. I especially like these, riser leads, just in case that you don't get a bite at night. In the morning you can just wind in, the whole thing comes up to the surface real quick and you don't have any problem with all the weed that's out there. Rig wise, what I like to use is monofilament rig. There's basically one reason. I just want to make sure that even on at 200 or 300 meters distance, this thing, if it's been picked up, it's going to fall down, fall down nice and flat, so it keeps on fishing, and you're ready to catch another fish. If you use just a regular, very, very soft and subtle hook link, I'm always afraid that it might end up like this. And I also like to use double baits just to make sure that I don't have to go out there 3 times, especially during the night, because I got to hook up with a brim or a rod or something like that. I like bigger hook baits, and I especially like these, the dumbbells, rigged in a T shape, because it's something different. These fish are very educated. They know what a round boilie is and how to get rid of it. This usually confuses them a lot. And what I suggest, if you want to do that, is tie a real big loop, so the knot will actually end up in the second bait, so the whole thing is, you know, stays together real nice, because otherwise you might have the problem that this thing is just, you know, moving up and down on the hair and, you know, maybe ending up here or blunting the hook tip or something like that. If you tie it with a big enough loop in the hair, they stay together like that, nice. And the shorter they are, the more stiff the whole monofilament gets. Right now I'm using 10 to 12 centimeters, which is fairly short. Basically, if I'd have to cast it out, it would look like that, and the whole rig might end up, you know, under the lead. But since I'm pushing this really into the bottom, and usually I'm also burying the rig like that, and putting the boilies just on top of that, everything looks nice and neat, and, you know, works really fine. These are basically the advantages. You know that you're fishing in a perfect spot. You can, you know, look at the bottom, you can look at the contours, you can push the lead in, you know, you get excellent hook holds, just because there's a lot of, you know, a lot of pressure involved when the fish picks up the bait, more than the weight of the lead itself, just by it being, you know, buried in the ground real well. And it also pops off real well. That's probably the most important thing. I always use, you know, safety clip systems, because you've seen the underwater footage. There's so much weed in there that, you know, I really appreciate if the lead comes off right away, and it's usually much easier to land the fish. The fish comes up to the surface right away. Another important factor when fishing in the summertime, I mean, the heat today is really unbearable. It's around 35 to 38 degrees in the shade, so it really pays off if you pack light and don't have a lot to carry to the bank. This is one of my favorite in the summertime. It's just a small one-man shelter, and as you can see, it's got, you know, mosquito net mesh in the back too, so you have a nice cross draft, and makes all the difference between, you know, having a good night's sleep and just, you know, being, you know, frying in there even at night. This really helps. The cross ventilation really helps to make it a comfortable stay. So I would suggest, you know, packing one of these in, just small, lightweight. You don't really need it for shelter against the rain. It's just against the mozzies, which can be a real pain in the, you know, where. And here's the proof. Summer fishing can be successful. It's just getting light today, and another nice fish to start the day. Not a very big one, but welcome nonetheless. Fishing is so hard. Every fish counts when water temperatures are close to 25 degrees and the oxygen is very low. They seem to be feeding mostly when it gets light. Maybe we'll get another fish in. Alright, nice way to start the day. Well, there you have it. Carp fishing in blistering hot weather. There's always a possibility. Some people say that snorkeling doesn't have anything to do with fishing at all. Yeah, I sort of agree with that. But hey, I'm here to have fun. I only have a limited amount of time left on this planet, and when it's this hot, you know, just pure fishing sitting on the bank would just be out of the question. I would always spend the day in water anyway, so why not combine the two things? You know, snorkeling, having fun in the water, and fishing. And one final tip: if you do spend a lot of time in the water like I do here, get a rash guard, get something that protects your back. If you're swimming like that and let's face it, you know, snorkeling, you're right on the surface for maybe 90% of the time. You're there, the sun will get to you. Wear some sort of protection, otherwise it'll just eat you up. Okay, be safe.